Hello, Cornerstone. We are in the third week of a 3-week series going over Cornerstone's core values: celebrate, connect, and contribute. We really have a treat. Next week we're going to have Paul Sabino preach. Mark Arendt will be bringing the worship, and we're going to be celebrating the 40th anniversary of TSC. It'll be particularly memorable to me because it was over 25 years ago that I started attending TSC, and really it changed the trajectory of my life. And so anyway, for next week, we'll be talking about lessons of contributing from the book of Mark, and also Paul Sabino might go to Matthew 5, where he talks about you are the salt of the earth and talking about the salt company. And so really what I'm going to do is I've worked up some questions, and we'll just kind of walk our way through those questions. But I think an excellent place for you to go with your connection group is this idea of lessons of contributing through the book of Mark. And if you can help your group really go back to Mark and the lessons they learned about this idea of contribute. And one of the questions that I listed comes from Mark 8:34, where Jesus says, summoning the crowd along with the disciples, he said to them, if anybody wants to be my follower, he must deny himself, take up his cross, and follow me. For whoever wants to save his life will lose it, but whoever loses his life because of me and the gospel will save it. For what does it benefit a man to gain the whole world but to lose his life? And this is a theme that Jesus expounds upon again and again in the book of Mark. This idea of self-sacrifice. Look at my sacrifice. I'm the example for you. And of course, we see the idea of Jesus sacrificing himself on the cross. Therefore, we must follow Jesus. We must take up our cross. We must follow him. Whatever we gain, we're going to lose. Whatever we lose, we're going to gain. And so this idea of sacrifice and contribution is one that is replete through the book of Mark. And it would do our groups great if we could remember those lessons, preach that gospel to us again and again. And so as you go through the book of Mark and as you look at the lessons, one of the stories that really stands out to me is the story in Mark 14 where Mary anoints Jesus at Bethany, and she takes something very precious and she uses it for the benefit of Jesus, so much so that the disciples criticized her, but Jesus described it as beautiful. And so a great thing to ask your group is, how do you take something that's precious to you? And all of us will have different things that are precious, time, money, pride, and then spend it for the kingdom. I think it's really an important example for us that we need to think about the idea of what does Jesus think is beautiful. And clearly, when we give of ourselves, particularly when it's something precious, Jesus will describe that as beautiful. And really hold that out there for your group. Help them understand what it is that Jesus thinks is beautiful. And then I think it really be a great idea, particularly as we're celebrating TSC's 40th anniversary, to think about 3 different areas. One, how is Cornerstone a contributing church? Number 2, how is your connection group a contributing connection group? And number 3, individually, how individually am I a contributor? And so starting with Cornerstone, encourage your group to think about, okay, Cornerstone wants to be a church that exemplifies those values. We want to be a contributing church. And so talk about Cornerstone gives a substantial amount of its budget. Be a great time to talk about individually. How do the people in your group give? TSC will be a main component. Really, since its inception, Cornerstone has been leading the TSC ministry, contributing of itself to the college ministry at Iowa State, Hope Children's Center in Zambia, regional and global ministries. And so really when Cornerstone started, we were not a very good contributing church. It was about Cornerstone, and that's a normal thing. But as we mature, as Cornerstone matures, as the members in your group matures, Christ desires us to be contributors. And so highlight how that happened with Cornerstone and how that's supposed to happen in their lives. Number 2, talk about your connection group. Are you a contributing connecting group? Do you contribute to those inside of your group? Do you contribute to those outside of your group? Do you contribute to the least of these? I think it would be an excellent thing to kind of have something in your back pocket that you would like to do as a connection group. Challenge your group with that. There are so many things that we can get involved with, and we desire that all connection groups are contributing connection groups. And finally, I think we need to bring it down to a personal level. If you can, be transparent where you are at. Talk about why it is that you are not more invested in the kingdom of God. And really, as I thought about that for myself, I said, so often I'm more concerned about my kingdom than I am about God's kingdom. And it's easier for me to want to make my life somehow better or easier, and how critical it is that I preach the gospel to myself every day, that gospel about denying myself, taking up the cross, and following Him. Be a great lesson for people to look inward and to ask the question, why am I not a better contributor? Why do I hold on to things when it's so clear from the gospel that we are to deny ourselves, take up the cross, follow Jesus, and whatever we lose, we will gain.